Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, but you can call me Grizzer, and this is a game day edition of the show. Thank you to everybody who has liked our previous episodes, subscribe to the channel, and get your comments down there in the viewer comments section. The viewer comments are important because this is where we get you caught up on the latest news and tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns, but then we also provide our takes and opinions along the way. I say ours because it's not just me, it's you down there in the viewer comments. And then coming up on today's show now, here we go. One of the keys to beating the Titans reminds me of an old Toto song. Things to watch for include my take on the Wyatt Teller situation. We'll include some bold predictions today, of course, and one, it might be my boldest prediction yet, on Shedeur Sanders. And then in the viewer comments, why we should be on the lookout for Hingle McCringleberry today. I love Hingle McCringleberry. Cannot wait to find out. But first, we have to talk about the keys to the game. The keys to beating Tennessee. Tennessee. That's a good song, too. Tennessee. I like that song. But the key to beating the Titans today reminds me of an old Toto song. Hold the line. Remember that song? Hold the line? Well, that's what we got to do on both sides of the ball. Hold the line. We got to hold the line today. Going to be critical, the offensive line and the defensive line. We'll start. We're going to talk a lot more about the offensive line and what to watch, but pass protection will be key today. And then the defensive line, of course, I mean, we're pretty good at it. We're second in the league in sacks, but getting to Cam Ward because everybody does. 48 sacks they have given up, so we should take full advantage. I also think we shouldn't have any trouble slowing down their running game. Tony Pollard has just, he's showing some signs of wear and tear after this year. Plus, that offensive line is just not that good. But I'll say this. Their defensive line only giving up 86 yards rushing the last 3 games. So might be some tough sledding for us to get Judkins and Sampson going. So we'll have to see. They're giving up 220 through the air these last few games. And so pass protection, once again, will be critical. And it brings us to what to watch for. And what to watch for is how this offensive line holds up against this weak Tennessee front. No Conklin and no Teller. And the whole Teller thing, holy cow, this thing took a life of its own, took on a life of its own throughout the week. But again, this is just this is Stefansers. This is what Stefansers get you because nobody trusts what you're saying because of this. Well, he's hurt. No, I'm not. I'm not hurt. Teller says he says no. Teller said I was told I was going to be rotated out. But you're hurt. No, I'm not hurt. I'm not hurt. But no, you are. You're hurt. You're hurt. No, I'm not hurt. And so, but here's what I think is what's really going on. I think that they're already looking forward to next year in these last 5 games. And so instead of just coming out and saying, look, these last 5 games, we're going to look at some other, some pieces that we might be counting on in the future. And so we're going to be rotating guys in and out at different spots, stuff you might normally, you haven't seen all season. And so we're going to be working on some things as the rest of the season goes along, especially on the offensive line. We'll be working some guys in and out and then go from there. But to go, first it was, Teller was told that he was going to rotate. Then coach says, oh, no. Yeah, it was a coach's decision. But then he said, oh, no, wait, but I think he was hurt. And then it's like, Teller's like, I'm not hurt. And then Stefanski's like, you're hurt. And then now he's hurt because he didn't practice all week and he's out. And so, this is the time of year, especially during a season like this, when you don't win that many games, this is the time of year when guys start getting honest. And they're not going to ride the company line anymore, especially when their contract is up like Teller. And so this offensive line is going to be revamped next year. And so they need to figure out what they have in the guys who might be here. Teller won't be here for sure. They're not paying him. There's no way. So he's gone. But he wants to fight for himself because he doesn't want teams to think that he's hurt and he's damaged goods because it could hurt his value in the market. So he's going to fight to say, no, I'm not hurt. So You could have DeJuan Jones back next year, and I would put him back at right tackle. I'm done with taking right tackles and turning them into left tackles because that's just ridiculous. It's just I'm sure that was a deep Podesta thing. But we can't do that anymore, And who knows with Levinson and Robinson and these other guys? Like, who knows who's going to be around? This offensive line will be completely revamped. But if you're trying to get ready for next year, just say it. I just don't understand I don't know, man. This is the problem with the Stefansers, man. I'm so tired of Stefansers, But here's the thing with Shedeur. He should be used to this because remember, he's the guy running with the 4s and the 5s in preseason. And he held his own. And so this is still an upgrade for him. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now, the other thing is watch to see if they use the pass to set up the run this week. Normally you're using the run to set up the pass, but as we just mentioned, could be tough sledding against Tennessee today. But so they could use the pass to set up the run. I am also going to be watching to see if they get the ball to Judy early and often after what happened last week with the sideline argument and then, the reconciliation with him and Shedeur during the week and this and that. I think they'll get him involved early. If you're wondering about the tight ends, Tennessee does give up the 10th most yards to tight ends. They give up 700 yards so far to tight ends, but they don't let tight ends score touchdowns. They've only given up 2 touchdowns to tight ends this season. So you can find your tight ends on Tennessee between the 20s, but once you get into that red zone, it gets a little tougher. So that's another reason I think you'll see Judy working the outside and Shedeur looking for him a little more. Also watching to see the defense can get to 11 sacks and set that single game record. It's very possible. I mean, this Tennessee offensive line has given up 48 sacks so far. Cam Ward, he's getting sacked like a minute, like 4 times a game. 4 sacks a game they're giving out. That poor Cam Ward. Holy mackerel. He is taking a beating. And then also, watch to see Myles Garrett. He can get the sack record today. Take a look. Here we go. The unofficial record is 23 by Al Bubba Baker. Now, he was with us for a long time, and he's beloved in Cleveland. He had his barbecue restaurant out there in Avon, and I mean, we love him. But he set this record with Detroit back in 1978. But this is the unofficial record because it was before the NFL started tracking sacks. They didn't start tracking them until 1982. But what Pro Football Reference did was they went back and analyzed box scores and film from 1960 to 1982, and they figured out that Al Bubba Baker had 23 sacks in 1978. So that is the unofficial record. And so Myles is shooting for that, but the official record is 22 and a half, shared by Michael Strahan and TJ Watt. And remember, Brett Favre fell down purposely for Strahan to get that record when he got it. So asterisks. Then there's Myles sitting there at 19 so far this year. And what I love about Myles and what he's done this year is that he's done this in 12 games. He's got 19 in 12 games. He's already crushed his own team record. If he could get to 23 today, or let's say he falls 1 or 2 short and then he gets it next week, like if he can do this in 13 or 14 games, I mean, nobody can argue with that record because I was worried that somebody might, if it took them all 17 games, oh, well, he had an extra game to get there. Well, no, this is going to be this. You can't argue with this, man. If he can do this in 13 or 14 games, that is going to be phenomenal. So that's what I'm watching for, to see if he can get there. He needs 4. He's had games. He's done it before. He had 5 against New England. Like, very, very much in reach, that sack record today, which brings us to our bold predictions for the Tennessee game. And I will predict that the Browns will get the 11 sacks today. This is the best defensive line they're going to see, and they're giving up 4 a game. I mean, come on. After what we did to the Raiders, like this. Now, I will say this: we are missing Malik Collins. We're missing. We'll get Alex Wright back, but there's still a couple of key cogs that'll be out of there. But the way this defensive line has been playing, There's a I'm saying they'll get to 11 today, and I'm saying Miles sets the record today. I think they're going to try and help Miles get that record. They once he gets 2, they're going to be like, all right, let's set Miles up. I'm sure they'll run some stuff to get him free and get out there. Now, this is what I teased at the top. I think this is going to be a breakout game for Shedeur today. I think he learned a lot. I think he's going for over 250 and at least 2 touchdowns because this Tennessee defensive front can't get to the quarterback. That's the other, as good as we are getting at the quarterback, Tennessee, not as good. Not even close. And so I think Shedeur will get the time he needs. I think these guys will step up, this offensive line. And he will feed Judy. He'll find Fannin. Who knows? Maybe Njoku get it. But this again, like with the offensive line, that's why you don't see. We haven't seen Njoku since Shedeur come in. I think it's because Njoku's gone. I don't understand why we didn't trade him at the trade deadline. But he's just not that involved in the offense anymore because I seriously think that they're trying to develop that rapport with Shedeur and Harold Fannin Jr. And I think you're going to see Bond a little bit more today and Ced Tillman. I think they're going to have their best games of the year today too. I think that Judy very much so could have 100 yards receiving today. I think Tillman and Bond will have their best games of the year today as well. I think this is going to be a breakout game for Shedeur, and I think the Browns roll. I'm calling 34-12. We're not just going over 20. We're going over 30 points against the Titans without a doubt. Now, what also comes without a doubt is how good the game day viewer comments always are. And we will start today with Rodney Brooks PW4RZ. Starts as a handle, ends as a password. Rodney Brooks says, Tennessee defensive coordinator Denard Wilson will attempt to blitz at least twice every series. Shedeur will prevail. Rodney says 31-10. Victory for the Browns. 265 yards passing, 22 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and no sacks. I love it. That is honestly what I'm thinking. I'm right in line with you. And the rushing yards, yeah, too. Take him over his rushing yards. I think that's another facet that we'll see this week. I think he learned a lot from that tape against San Francisco. San Francisco changed a lot of things up on him. And some good, some bad. It was growing pains. It was a learning thing for him last week. And I think he watched that tape, learned from it, and now he gets a team that is just not as good defensively, and he should have a day. Dazsa says, it's D-A-Z-S-A. I don't know how else to say that. Dazsa. The defense isn't who he needs to worry about. It's the offense. Unfortunately, his. Yes. And that goes to, the play calling. So we'll have to watch. Oh, that's always a what to watch for. But the offensive line, after what happened last week, and Matthew 1925 doubles down. He says, I've seen them dive at people's feet and make them fall, but they dove at nothing. He's talking about the whole Conklin and Batonio Superman, the Soldier Boy move they pulled last week against San Francisco, which is just inexplicable. I seriously thought I was watching a Key and Peele skit when I saw that video. I was looking for Hingle McCringleberry and Xmas Jackson, Flaxen Waxen. I was looking for those guys out there. I'm like, is this a Key and Peele thing? Then I was waiting for the, I was looking for that celebration. But that's what that looked like. It seriously looked like Hingle McCringleberry was out there wide receiver. Just laughable. Just unbelievable that comes down to coaching. You can't coach a guy to leave his feet and keep his head down and try to expect to block something. It was just borderline. So that's another thing, man. Let's get, this offensive line. These guys, we need a much better performance from them today. TJ-FG5ZF. TJ says, Grizzer, you made me a fan and earned a sub. I love your sense of humor, fairness, and your R&B knowledge. It ain't bad. I appreciate how you can see the talent Shedeur has and the voices that he just needs a great coach and time to develop as all rookies do. You give me hope that not all Cleveland media are hateful idiots. Well, here's the thing, take a deep breath on the Cleveland media because the search for a quarterback has gone on here for the better part of 30 years. And so the quarterback situation in Cleveland is such a sensitive topic. And that's why people now, especially in the media, they're like, yeah, we've seen this before. I don't know. That's why everybody's always so down on the quarterback situation. But me, I'm glass half full guy. And I was glad we took Baker for a lot of same reasons I like Shador. The moxie, the chip on his shoulder, the haters, that's what Cleveland falls in love with, people like that. Now, Kevin Stefanski was not the adult in the room when we had Baker and would not address his immaturity, Baker's immaturity, although I guess you could say Stefanski's immaturity too, would not address the immaturity issue and let him walk, and now Baker's doing good things with Tampa Bay. It took him a few teams to do. Now, that's the only thing I'll say about Baker. It took him a couple of, remember, he didn't go right to Tampa and turn into something. He needed time to grow up. But I appreciate it, TJ. I appreciate it. No, I see what I see. Actual and factual. It's what I strive for. And so, it's what I see. Like, why not lean into this and let's end this search? The potential is really there. This is a guy who dives into the playbook, just cares. He cares. So let's lean into it, man. I'm pulling for Shador. This has got to work. This has got to work. And we'll end today on Birdshoe, who says, I believe Judy and Shador are good, and I'm looking for them to ball out together today. 100%. I totally agree. That's a what to watch for. It's a bold prediction. It's going to happen. Browns are going to roll, and then we'll be here after the game to give you our take on what happened. All right, let's go. Tennessee. I need to learn the words of that song. I just remember the Tennessee part. I'll tell you what, though. No Diggity, my wife's all-time favorite song, in case you were keeping score at home. Loves No Diggity. So, Blackstreet, that's a great tune, by the way. Like the way you work it, Brownies. Let's go. All right, go Browns. We'll see you next time.